Now, Joe Biden is to host a G7 virtual meeting and announce sweeping sanctions against Russia, said a White House statement. US President Joe Biden today would host a virtual meeting of leaders from G7 nations, along with his Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky, during which he will expect sweeping sanctions against Russia as its war against Ukraine enters the second year, the White House has said. Meanwhile, China has called for a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia and the opening of peace talks as part of a 12-point proposal to end the conflict. The plan also urges an end of Western sanctions imposed on Russia and for steps to ensure grain exports. I beg your pardon.
President Biden will gather with G7 leaders and President Zelensky for a virtual meeting to continue coordinating our efforts to support Ukraine and hold Russia accountable for its war. The G7 has become an anchor of our strong and united response to Russia. Tomorrow, the leaders will discuss how we continue supporting Ukraine and continue to increase pressure on Putin and all those who enable his aggression. The United States will implement sweeping sanctions against key sectors that generate revenue for Putin, go after more Russian banks, Russia's defense and technology industry, and actors in third-party countries that are attempting to backfill and evade our sanctions.
Well, to give us more information on this, Abhishek continues to be with us. Abhishek, on one hand, US plans to impose more sanctions through G7. On the other hand, China wants some concessions. How's this going?
So it looks like the division is clearly at the highest level of United Nations, where at least Russia and China too are the veto members, while USA, France, and UK, they are trying to impose more sanctions and force Russia towards, stopping war. But China has clearly taken a stand that more ammunition, more weaponry that is being sent by the NATO to Ukraine is only fueling the war, and it is no way going to stop the war or bring the hostilities down. In fact, there has been reports, and which is why the USA is more concerned that now Russia is engaging with China to have more weapon, because it has depleted its stock of weapon over the last 1 year of fight with Ukraine. So clearly a tension that is brewing in at the geopolitical level, where now if Russia and China join hands in this war with the weaponry system being provided from China to Russia, it will flare up, it will scale up. And we have already seen the tragedy it has brought to the world in the last 1 year. In fact, the G7 meeting has also tried to bring the economic quotient on Russia so that its revenue income decreases. But only yesterday, Secretary Yellen, who is in India on finance ministers meeting of G20 members, has said that though they have brought some effect on Russian economy, but many of its verticals have still been unaffected, and Russia's economy has not been impacted as much as it was initially expected. So whether G7 will try to bring more economic sanction and trade sanction on Russia so that it can sort of pressurize Russia in ending the war or ending the hostilities in Ukraine, that we'll have to see.
Well, Abhishek, thank you for that information and for putting the story into perspective for our viewers. And now moving on.